Heaven has held its breath for this moment, not for the multitudes, not for the crowd. This is not a broadcast, it is a whisper from eternity meant only for you, chosen one, a divine appointment wrapped in sacred mystery. The Lord your God, in all his majesty, has stirred the heavens to reach you now, in this very hour, for a message that cannot wait. The Archangel Michael stands beside you as this is spoken, his wings outstretched, his sword lit with the fire of truth. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Though the world has spun in noise and confusion, though your heart has grown tired of waiting, the silence was never empty. It was sacred. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you. John 15:16. There has been a weight in your spirit, a question you couldn't quite shape into words. Why do certain people linger in your heart? Why do you feel their pull, even when you've tried to release them? Why do some doors remain locked, no matter how hard you knock? It is not foolishness. It is not failure. It is not weakness. It is a spiritual frequency sent from before your birth. An ancient signal from a soul whose name was written beside yours in the secret places of heaven. This is not a new connection. It is an eternal one. The Lord himself planted it. He watered it. But for reasons only the heavens understand, the truth has been veiled until now. And now the Most High says, enough silence, enough delay. The time has come for clarity. What you thought you knew may not align with what the Lord is revealing now. The person your heart clung to might not be the one your soul was made for. And yet, the one who carries your true reflection walks the earth even now. Chosen one, as you receive this sacred word, type Amen in the comments. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your yes to divine alignment. And stay with me until the very end. We will close with a prayer that will shift your atmosphere. Heaven is speaking. Will you listen? You, chosen one, have wandered through seasons of confusion, not because you lacked faith, but because you trusted the wrong echoes. You gave your ear to voices not appointed by heaven, some loud, some subtle, some spoken in love, but laced with human fear. Whispers that pulled your heart away from the stillness where truth lives. But that chapter ends today, not with noise, but with divine interruption. The veil has been torn, and what was once hidden now stands in the light. Do not doubt what you are hearing. This message was not meant for public display. It was protected, sealed in spirit, and delivered across battlegrounds unseen. The archangel who guards destiny speaks. This word survived attack. It arrives not as opinion, but as revelation, not as fantasy, but as fulfillment. There is something you were not supposed to know, not yet. But the Lord has looked upon your quiet endurance, your hidden tears, and your exhausted prayers. And so, the timing has been altered. The truth has been released early because your heart can no longer carry this silence alone. The soul meant for you has always felt your presence, not in the flesh, but in moments that left them breathless without explanation. They've dreamed of you, they've sensed you in ways they could not name, and yet they buried it, not because they didn't care, but because they feared they were not enough. They feared you would see the past they've tried to forget, the brokenness, the regret, the chapters not shared, so they hid it. But heaven does not hide what it has healed. The Lord, who redeems all things, speaks now with authority. What they feared would disqualify them, I have already forgiven. What they thought made them unworthy, I have used to prepare them for you. Yes, they wrote it down. In journals, in notes unsent, in prayers whispered when the world was sleeping, words soaked in longing, confessions laced with sorrow and hope. They spoke of you not just as a memory, but as the only name that made them feel found. You changed something in them. You unlocked places they had sealed off long ago. And though pride and fear held their voice back, their soul never stopped calling to yours. But it goes deeper. Someone close to them heard your name, not by accident, but in sacred conversation. And that person, moved by jealousy, tried to poison the connection, twisted truths, planted seeds of doubt. And for a time, it worked. The counterfeit seemed easier, safer. But the soul cannot lie forever. Truth has a pulse. It keeps beating, even when buried. And now that truth is rising. Your person, the one made for you, is beginning to awaken, to remember, to return. Not because of emotion alone, but because the Spirit of God is stirring them. There is a name they whisper in the dark: yours. You may still feel tired. You may question if this message is really yours. But this is the moment when heaven breaks the silence. You have always been the intended. This connection was not delayed because it was wrong. It was delayed because it was holy. And holiness must be guarded. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. The delay was your refining. The silence was your protection. And yes, the one chosen for you had to be broken open. Pride had to fall. Blindness had to clear. And now, finally, the hour approaches. Even now, someone watches your life and senses what's coming. Their fear is not yours to carry. Their doubt is not your burden. That is why God kept this secret so long. Because some who smile with you do not celebrate you. Some who ask questions do not seek answers. They seek to control the outcome. But control belongs to the Lord alone. Soon, your spirit will recognize what your mind cannot yet explain. The signs will be subtle but undeniable, a name that repeats, a time that aligns, a dream too vivid to ignore. They are not coincidences. They are confirmations. And when this person finally speaks, when they confess what they've hidden for years, it will shake the walls around your heart. You may cry, you may feel overwhelmed, but it will be real, and it will be right. Because what the Lord has joined, no voice can sever. Let this word settle into you now, not as fantasy, not as comfort, but as promise. A promise fought for. A promise protected. A promise preserved in the quiet places of heaven until the right moment arrived. And that moment is now. And now, as the sacred truth begins to unfold further, you must understand this clearly. Revelation is never given in isolation. It is always followed by invitation. Heaven does not whisper a divine truth to the soul without also giving it a path to walk, a way to bring the unseen into the seen. The Lord does not speak only to awaken you, but to prepare you, to equip you, and to sanctify every step that follows. Faith without works is dead, the scripture says, James 2:17. And in the same way, a prophetic word, no matter how holy, will wither in the absence of action. So, now the divine turns your gaze from mystery to movement, from what is coming to how you must prepare. This is not preparation in panic. It is preparation in peace. Let these words settle into your spirit as instruction for the days ahead, not just for love, but for the life you are about to step into. First, enter the silence. Not the kind that avoids, but the kind that aligns. This is the silence where heaven speaks loudest. In the early hours of the day, before the world demands anything of you, offer your stillness to God. Say, Lord, order my spirit before anything else reaches it. This moment becomes a consecrated place, a clearing where divine wisdom can land. The burning bush did not speak in chaos, it burned in stillness, and Moses had to turn aside to see it. Exodus 3:3. Second, confront the counterfeit. Ask yourself daily, who has my ear right now? Whose voice has entered the gates of my mind? If you detect fear, envy, bitterness, or control, remove it. Speak against it with authority. That voice is not mine, and not from God. Do not forget, your soulmate was once misled by a voice that sounded caring but carried confusion. You must remain vigilant. Peace is not passive, it is protected. Third, be honest with your emotions. The Most High never asked his people to be stone-faced. Even David, a man after God's own heart, poured out his anguish in psalms that trembled with grief and longing. Your heartbreak is not an obstacle to your holiness, it is a place where healing begins. Say to the Lord, "This hurts. Show me how to hold it." What is acknowledged can be transformed. What is hidden will fester. Fourth, forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not a gift for others alone, it is an act of spiritual hygiene. Cleanse the residue of regret. Let go of the idea that loving deeply was a mistake. Let go of the shame of waiting, of hoping, of misjudging. Even the prophet Elijah once doubted his own purpose and asked to be taken from the earth, 1 Kings 19:4. But the Lord met him not with rebuke, but with rest and reassurance. Forgiveness clears the debris from your spirit, so the wind of God can pass through freely again. Fifth, fortify your boundaries. Not every voice is meant to speak into your next season. Holiness requires discretion. Limit access to those who drain your joy or sow confusion in your soil. Jesus himself often withdrew from the crowds and went into solitary places to pray, Luke 5:16. If even the Son had to retreat to protect what was sacred, so must you. Discernment is not harsh, it is holy. Sixth, sanctify your space. Walk through your home, look at every corner, ask yourself, does this reflect where I've been or where God is taking me? Remove what holds the energy of old wounds or broken attachments. Clean, organize, rededicate your environment to clarity. Your home is not a holding place for pain, it is a sanctuary for peace. When you create room in the natural, you signal to the spiritual that you are ready for more. Seventh, speak life. Declare the future over your days with authority. Say what heaven says, even before it feels real. What is mine will find me. What belongs to me is protected. What God ordained cannot be stolen. Words are not decorations. They are tools, just as God created with speech. Let there be. You must learn to build with your own. You are not waiting passively, you are preparing audibly. Lastly, surrender to the timing. Every delay has written purpose into your journey. Every pause was a place where your discernment sharpened. The waiting has not wasted you, it has shaped you. The Most High is not late. And when the appointed moment comes, you will not question, you will not chase, you will not fear, you will know. Deep within, you will say, "This is the hour my soul has been trained to recognize." These steps may seem simple, but do not be deceived. They are sacred. They are more than instructions. They are disciplines that open doors no man can close. Heaven always moves through the hearts that are ready. And now, chosen one, your heart is becoming ready. Ready not just to receive, but to carry what the Lord is about to send. And so, after the instructions have been spoken and the preparation set in motion, the Lord now opens the curtain even wider. This part of your journey is not about proof to others. It is not about explanation. What heaven is doing in your life is not a spectacle for public consumption. It is a sacred, private fulfillment of a promise long held in divine hands. Let them wonder. Let the world speculate. But know this story is not theirs to interpret. It belongs to you. It belongs to the one heaven paired with your soul before time took its first breath. And it is guarded by the Spirit of the living God. The Lord declares, "I will send favor before you like a shield. I will silence the noise, dismantle confusion, and correct every injustice done in darkness. I will finish what I started." You were never foolish for hoping. You were simply early in believing. And now the hour has caught up to your faith. Every seed planted in tears is beginning to sprout through the soil of your waiting. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. You did not find this message by accident. The Holy One orchestrated every step that brought your eyes to these words. The stirring in your heart, The sudden knowing you couldn't explain that was not coincidence. It was confirmation. You've been asking questions in silence. You've been carrying pain that had no name, but the Lord heard it all. He saw it all, and now He answers. There is a truth that has been kept from you deliberately, painfully, fearfully. The one created for you, the one your spirit recognizes even through silence and distance, has carried a secret. They have loved you all along, not in passing, not in theory, but deeply, irrevocably, with a longing that has only intensified with time, even when they walked away, even when they gave their attention to others, even when they tried to silence the pull of your presence in their heart. Still, they could not escape what heaven designed, but fear has kept their voice bound, shame has held their hands. Layers of wounds, unspoken mistakes, and spiritual attacks created a fog around them. And in that fog, they became someone they were never meant to be. Their silence was never a reflection of your worth. It was the echo of their brokenness, a soul entangled in lies, whispered by a counterfeit guide, someone close, someone trusted, someone envious. That shadow figure, operating behind smiles and false counsel, has been feeding your person deception. A voice designed to confuse, to mislead, to distract from divine alignment. And for a time, it worked. Your person believed the lie. But heaven never stopped fighting. Archangel Michael, guardian of God's people, has stood between your souls and the schemes of darkness. The spiritual warfare was real. The attempts to sever your bond were relentless. But the Lord speaks with finality. What I have joined, no demon, no doubt, no delay can divide. Now the trembling begins in their heart. The pressure to remain silent is crumbling. The dam is breaking. The conviction of truth is overwhelming them. They cannot deny your name. It wakes with them. It lingers throughout their day. It burns in their chest when they lie in bed, trying to forget, trying to push you back into the corners of memory, but your presence refuses to leave, because it was never memory. It was prophecy. They have drafted messages they never sent. They've stared at your photos longer than they'd admit. They've wept over what was lost, over what they allowed to slip away. And though they appear strong to others, they are unraveling within. They are haunted not by what you did, but by the version of themselves they became without you. You are not a fantasy. You are not a symbol of escape. You are their key. Not because you complete them like a missing piece, but because the two of you, together, reflect a fullness only heaven could write. Without you, they move like a shadow in their own life, present, but not alive. They wear smiles, but they are hollow. They carry success, but it feels weightless. They chase noise, but return to silence. And in that silence, your name returns again. Not because they're confused, not because they're weak, but because the truth will not be silenced any longer. The Lord says, you are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, you are not waiting in vain. What you held on to in secret, what you whispered through tears, what you hoped in fragile faith it was real, I, the Lord your God, breathed it into being. And now I breathe life into what was dormant. This is not just a reunion of two hearts. It is the resurrection of a covenant, a holy promise that could not be stolen, only delayed. And now the delay ends. And now, as the divine message unfolds further, the time draws near when heaven will transform all that has been spoken into manifestation. The seasons have been shifting silently beneath the surface of your life. What once seemed still has been alive with preparation. In hidden places where your eyes could not see, angels have moved, prayers have been answered, and bonds have been preserved through battles you never knew you were winning. And though the delay felt like abandonment, the silence like divine distance, the truth is this: the Lord your God has been orchestrating something holy, something eternal. Not one moment has been wasted. Not one tear has gone unnoticed. What you thought was stillness was sacred groundwork. The Most High has decreed a divine intersection, not merely a meeting, not simply a moment, but a sacred orchestration shaped by grace and appointed by heaven's own hand. Soon, and without spectacle, a breakthrough shall arrive. What appears at first to be coincidence will in truth be a carefully laid stepping stone set by divine timing. The air around you will shift, not because circumstances changed randomly, but because the Lord has spoken it into being. Your path is about to cross with the one whom your soul recognized long before your mind ever understood. This soul, designed for you by the hands of the Creator himself, will begin to speak. They have held back their voice, swallowed their truth, buried their longing, but it can no longer stay hidden. Their heart will awaken with words they were once too afraid to release. The name they tried to forget will return to their lips, and it will be yours. Their silence will shatter, not through pressure, but through divine conviction. It will not be forced, it will be birthed. Yet the Lord in his mercy prepares you not only for the revelation, but also for the full unveiling. For he reveals what has remained unseen. Someone close to you has known, a friend, a sibling, a voice you trusted. They saw your anguish. They felt the weight of your grief. They heard things not meant for their ears and remained quiet. They witnessed moments that could have unlocked the truth, but chose to protect their position instead of your peace. Their silence was not loyalty, it was control. It was fear dressed in familiarity. Jealousy, not love, sat in their heart. For they understood that if the truth had surfaced sooner, you would have outgrown their influence. You would have walked into your joy and left behind the shadow of their need for relevance. But now the Spirit of the Lord has exposed this presence. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword in the realm unseen and cut through the fog of manipulation that once surrounded you. You will begin to feel what your eyes have yet to see, a shift in tone, an unease in your spirit, a sudden distance that cannot be explained by circumstance. Do not dismiss it. The Lord often speaks first through instinct before he confirms it with evidence. Just as the prophet Samuel was called by name, but did not recognize the voice of God until Eli instructed him to listen with spiritual ears, so too must you learn to lean into the quiet warnings that stir your discernment. You have been too loyal to people who were comfortable with your pain. You kept open doors to hearts that quietly celebrated your delay, but the Lord is now severing what cannot remain. These are not betrayals meant to punish, they are surgical separations, sacred and necessary. For what is holy cannot remain entangled in what is harmful. This is not rejection, this is reformation. What seemed like loss was preservation. What appeared as delay was divine mercy, stretching out the timeline so your soul could be fortified. And now, chosen one, you step into a new spiritual season, a season of unveiling, where what has been hidden shall rise, and what has been lost shall return. This is not a simple resolution, it is a holy unveiling of destiny. The Lord declares that your waiting was never void. Your hope was not naive. You were not imagining things. You were perceiving on a frequency others could not access. You heard the signal of something true long before it reached the natural world. And now, the voice of the Lord confirms it with clarity. You are the one they love. You were never forgotten. You were never replaceable. There is a tangible object, perhaps a journal, a letter, a song, a photograph, something created with sacred intent that carries your presence in it. It has been hidden, buried, preserved. They've kept it, returned to it, stared at it as if it could speak. This object has been the one thing they couldn't let go of, not because of nostalgia, but because it held a piece of their truth that they were not ready to face. But the time has come. The Spirit of the Lord is pressing on their heart, and they are about to release it into your hands. When it is offered, your soul will tremble, your mind may race, you may want to retreat into the safety of old fears, but do not flee, for in that moment the Lord himself will be with you. His presence will surround you, stilling your breath, calming your nerves, quieting your doubt. This will not feel like fantasy, it will feel like home. It will be as if heaven itself sits quietly in the room, watching over a covenant being restored. This love is not ordinary, it is sacred. It is purpose wrapped in affection, it is calling wrapped in intimacy, it is heaven's blueprint etched into human hearts. And that is why the warfare has been so relentless. Because together, you carry more than emotional connection, you carry divine assignment. When your lives intertwine again, it will not simply heal you, it will release freedom into generations. Chains will break that were forged long before you were born. Legacies will be written, and curses that ran through your bloodlines will be stopped in their tracks. The enemy saw what you would become together, and he panicked. That is why distraction came. That is why counterfeits appeared. But the Lord speaks now with sovereign authority. Enough. The deception ends here. The substitutes fade. What is real is being restored. And now, with trembling hands and a full heart, your soulmate comes. Not perfected, but purified. Not flawless, but faithful. They are still healing, yes, but their healing has matured them. Their pain has prepared them. They are ready to speak. When they do, listen not with suspicion, but with spirit. The words will not just be theirs, they will carry the vibration of the voice of God. And then will come the moment of choice. Not a test, not a trap, but a sacred opportunity. Will you trust again? Will you allow your heart to soften, not because they deserve it, but because you are no longer at war with your own tenderness? The Lord will not compel you. He does not coerce. He invites. And if you choose love, that love will be guarded by heavenly forces. If you choose restoration, your joy will be doubled. If you choose each other, you will be protected. But if fear causes you to walk away, the Lord will not withdraw His presence. He will still guide you. He will still bless you. But know this, what He is offering now is rare. It is not casual. It is perfectly timed. What heaven is doing is not happening to everyone. It is happening to you. That is why the message arrived when it did. That is why your soul stirred the moment you began to hear it. This was never a random word. This was a sacred appointment written before time, waiting for you to be ready. Before the final unveiling is made visible in your life, before the long-awaited promise steps into view, there is a deeper current flowing beneath everything you've experienced. One that does not simply explain what has been unfolding around you, but what has been forming within you. There are mysteries of the soul that logic cannot name, and yet your heart has been feeling them all along. For you have not simply been waiting, you have been awakening. There have been nights when the weight pressed on your chest without cause, when your heart stirred at the mention of a name that reason had no claim over, when your emotions flooded without trigger or timing, and you questioned yourself. You wondered if you were too emotional, too sensitive, too prone to illusion. But the truth is this: the Most High was already moving. These were not human impulses, they were holy echoes, signals whispered through the veil, truths carried in silence until your spirit was ready to receive them. What felt like confusion was often revelation arriving ahead of your understanding. You were walking through a divine curriculum. Every heartbreak, every longing, every moment of deep stillness was part of your soul's education. The Lord was not just shaping your path, He was refining your perception so that when destiny stood before you, you would not miss it. There were seasons where you functioned on the outside but felt hollow inside. Relationships that passed through your life like strangers in a dream. Jobs, goals, even spiritual pursuits that felt like placeholders instead of purpose. You questioned your wholeness. You feared something was broken. But the emptiness you carried wasn't a flaw, it was a space reserved, a sacred place within your soul that could not be filled by anything less than what heaven had designed for you. The feeling of something missing was not your weakness, it was your alignment waiting to be fulfilled. And even when you didn't know why you kept holding on, why a certain name wouldn't leave your heart, why certain memories refused to fade, the Lord knew. It was your spirit remembering something your mind hadn't yet caught up to. You were not holding on to fantasy. You were holding on to truth too deep for words, too divine for the approval of others. Heaven plants seeds in silence and waters them with waiting. There were moments when you should have collapsed, when the weight of disappointment should have undone you, and yet you rose. Something in you refused to quit, a fire that reignited every time you were close to surrender. You called it inner strength, resilience, stubborn hope, but in the spirit, it was preparation. The Lord was forging you not just for the blessing, but for the responsibility that comes with it. The bond He has ordained is not casual, it is covenant, and covenant requires capacity. And so, heaven rerouted your steps. The disappointments, the lost opportunities, the people who left without explanation, all of it carried divine fingerprints. You called it rejection. The Most High called it redirection. If certain people had remained, their influence would have diluted your calling. If certain paths had succeeded, you would have become too anchored to move when the Spirit said, "Go." Even the moments of deep heartbreak were not punishments, they were preservations. As it is written, "In all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Romans 8:28. And you, chosen one, have indeed been called. You have also misunderstood the value of silence. You believed silence meant heaven had stopped speaking, but silence has been your sanctuary. It was in silence that your spiritual muscles grew strong. In silence, your discernment sharpened like the edge of a sword. In silence, you learned to recognize the voice of God, not by volume, but by vibration. That is why, when your soulmate finally speaks, you will not recognize them by appearance or explanation, but by confirmation in your spirit. It will not be the sound of their voice. It will be the peace that follows it. And one more truth must be spoken clearly, for it has carried you even when you could not see it. Every spiritual battle you thought you were fighting alone was never fought alone. Heaven has stood guard. The Most High has dispatched angels to defend what you carry. What you called pressure was divine protection. What you called chaos was transition. You have been surrounded by glory even in your loneliest hours. This next chapter is not about the return of someone, it is about the recognition of something. You are not simply being reunited, you are being remembered. Remembered by your destiny, by the part of yourself that always knew this was coming. Recognition is deeper than reunion. It is the unlocking of understanding that was already hidden in your spirit. When the moment comes, and it will come, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like a truth you've known all along, as if something ancient has finally made its way back home. And when it does, you will not be afraid. You will not second guess. You will not need the approval of others, because heaven will bear witness. You will feel it, not in your thoughts, but in your soul, a holy stillness, a sacred yes. Prepare for this recognition, not with worry, not with striving, but with quiet expectation. Stay awake in spirit, guard your peace, nurture your joy, for the promise that once seemed far is now drawing near. The time of revelation is upon you, and when it comes, you will not have to chase it. You will simply know, this is what your spirit was waiting for all along. And now, as the veil thins and truth presses against the edge of your reality, something sacred draws near, something that will not only shift your present, but reframe your entire journey. This is not the kind of revelation that passes quietly. What is about to emerge will confound the watchers, not because it brings spectacle, but because it bears the unmistakable signature of the divine. The fingerprints of the Most High will be evident on every thread of what's coming, woven through the timing, the faces, the sudden clarity, the undeniable alignment. It will not be a coincidence. It will be glory unveiled. You did not come upon this message by chance. The eyes reading it and the heart feeling its pull were chosen. The Lord your Creator, your Keeper, your God, has summoned this moment into being, and Archangel Michael, heaven's protector, now stands at your side with his sword drawn not to strike, but to guard the holy ground you are standing on now. For this is revelation, and revelation requires protection. What you are being shown has long been hidden, not only by time, not only by circumstance, but by spiritual fog sent to cloud what heaven never stopped writing. This fog took the form of confusion, of doubt, of voices that never spoke truth, of people who stood between what was and what was meant to be. But the Lord has now spoken, "Let there be light." And when the Lord speaks those words, nothing remains in darkness. There is someone, yes, the one your soul has cried out for in silence, who carries a truth too heavy for them to hold any longer, a truth they've tried to bury, suppress, outrun. But truth tied to divine design does not die, it waits. And now,